Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I do apologise. Mellows and I thought we were live.
Oh shit!
We were talking away, and I'm saying, "Hello, nightmares. Hello, Mr. Trucker. Yes, we are on time tonight. I don't know where Bear is." We had all of that conversation totally wasted because Mellows forgot to remind me to press the go live button.
Oh shit! I thought it was live.
If it wasn't for Jim Star, I wouldn't have even noticed because I'm sure he's the one that put in, "Why are we waiting?" And I just looked
fasten
up
your
corner.
pants, everyone. It's homework time.
So good evening. I will actually hold my hand up to that one because I'm supposed to have started it. But you see, this is it. You just can't rely on the staff anymore, can you? You know. I thought Bear was going to help me. I don't know what happened to him. He was in Welcome, and if the room's still open, he'll be there. Maybe might be.
I just closed the room. If someone wants to go in there, I can open it again. No problem.
No. If it's closed, it means Bear's not there, so I don't know where he is. But still, we might just pick on one of Bear's videos. And we can all have a look at it, and you can give a critical point of view, constructive, of course. Point of view on it. We'll just have to see how long I'm here for, because you know what will happen, folks. I'll get to around about an hour and a half, something like that, and I'll need to get some sleep. But until then, let's get on with things, shall we? And I'll show you, I'll give you some food for thought. Right, that's the one. Okay. With a bit of luck now, you'll all be able to see the screen. Watch this. You're not going to believe this, although the title does give it away. Please say 11-year-old girl could be charged with child porn. Interesting.
This has got to be a display of some of the most dumbest police officers on the fucking planet.
Mellows, let's watch it. I'll start it again because it's only a few minutes long. Well, not even that.
When you're ready. Hi, Anne-Marie. Hi, Joe. Jules. Everyone in the chat. Good evening, Turkey. Shorty. JG. UKT. Well, everyone in here tonight. How many we got in here? We've got 2 chats, that's right. How is it, everyone, tonight?
Did that come through?
I haven't seen anything yet. Nothing's coming through.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Because I was playing it and it was sharing. Oh.
Not with us.
Right, okay.
Well, at least not with me.
Well, look at the StreamYard picture. It'll tell you what it...
I'm looking at the StreamYard now. Yeah. It's just me and you in the chat with the...
Yeah, did anybody see it in the...
no.
Was it transmitted?
So. No.
Okay, no worries.
We'll try again.
I'll let Mellow, do you want to describe what they would have seen? I'm gonna throw the
No,
link
you
out.
can't describe that. It's got to be the most dumbest display of ignorance I've ever seen in my life. The words cannot describe how dumb these people are. So I can try to share the video on my screen. Maybe you can share my screen. Let me just see if I can share screen. Share. Can you see my? Are you able to get my screen up? No, does that work? Yes, that works. All right. Everyone can see this, right? Listen to this.
Hi.
Yeah, she's in bed now. Yeah. I just the whole point. I just want you guys to come over and talk to her. You guys probably can do about it.
I mean, she could probably get charged with child porn.
Who she can? She's 11 years old.
She's creating it, right?
She's 11 years old.
Doesn't matter. She's still making porn.
No, she's not. She's being manipulated.
She taking pictures?
Years.
Right? Do you get that? Did you guys get that? Yeah, unbelievable. Was you able to understand what happened there? Let me try and break it up. The man finds out his daughter is being groomed by an adult. His 11-year-old daughter finds pictures of this adult sending his daughter pictures of himself. And he's convinced his daughter, manipulated his daughter to send pictures of her to him. So he contacts the police. And that was the police's response after 6 hours of waiting, right? So he phones the police, and then 6 hours later, they turn up, and that's what they do. They want to charge the 11-year-old girl for creating porn, right? That's the level of policing.
Pretty good over there, isn't it?
Pretty good, yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic.
I mean, how many people actually would understand that? You know what I mean?
Imagine you finding out that your daughter's being groomed by a pervert, right? By a paedophile. And then you're phoning up the police, and then the police want to come to your door and arrest your daughter. I mean, how pathetic is that? How stupid is that? How sickening is that? This is just beyond ignorance. This is far beyond ignorance. This is just clearly she didn't want to do her job, especially turning up at the job 6 hours later. After 6 hours, you waiting for a call. I mean, they turn up 45 minutes when somebody phones up because someone's outside with a camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
Half an hour, 45 minutes, they're there, flashing blue lights. Somebody reports a paedophile grooming his child. They turn up 6 hours later and threaten the man's daughter with an arrest. I mean, how sickening is that?
Well, what's interesting,
Sickening.
we've got a few people from over in the States who are making comments. So what I'd like to do, because I do know some of these people, I'll put the link out for everybody. But in particular, just want one or two, if possible, the guys from the States said just on this.
I mean, she clearly didn't want to do her job that night, you know, and investigate something. It was an open and shut case for her.
Well, yeah, I would have thought that.
I've got the body cam footage of her as well.
Yeah.
So as she's walking up to the place, she's already made up her mind that the child is guilty of a crime. As she was
Yes.
walking up, she said, well, she created the porn. All right, well, she's making porn, you know? She made a quick picture of herself. So they've already decided, you know, it's like judge, jury, and executioner, you know?
Yeah. Hello, Taps.
No investigation necessary.
Well, how y'all doing? This is Tats from across the pond doing the rootin' tootin' cowboy.
How you
Cowboy
doing,
thing.
cowboy?
Actually, that's not really my voice, but you know.
No, I know it wasn't. Honest.
But I know that I was told one time that if an American went over to the UK and opened up a Western themed bar, it would take off like it would be a great success.
Proper like saloon and everything.
Right,
yeah?
right.
It's
Yeah,
gotta
I've
be-
heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
horses and
also
everything.
Horses outside.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Has to have the horses, man. That's what's going to bring everyone in.
I've
So,
heard
Tats,
it would be. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you see the video?
I saw I came and caught the tail end of it, but I believe I have the gist of it, and absolutely positively a disgrace to our entire society, not just as a country, but as a world population.
Yeah. Barbara Rogers is correct. Cult News, KULT News, Mike Norton, he covered this story. He went and done an audit in Columbus, Ohio, outside a dispensary that was like literally opposite a police station. And these people lost their minds. They tried to run him over. They flipped him off. They almost attacked him, harassed him. They called the police, and the police got there in 45 minutes. They were ready to arrest the man with the camera in the street in 45 minutes.
Wait a minute,
And
they were trying to
these
arrest Cult News.
KULT News, yeah, Mike
Yeah,
Norton.
I'm familiar with them. I'm familiar with him. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
were trying to run him out of town because he was covering this story.
No, he literally went to audit the town, right? So he's just outside the dispensary,
Right.
videoing, right? And these people lost their minds because he was outside videoing
Oh, got it.
in
Got
public, right?
it. Right.
And
right.
one of the employees came over and tried to run him over, basically. Literally drove onto the pavement to run him over.
That's
Go and watch
insane.
the video.
I have to take a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. And the police were there in 45 minutes. When this man phoned the police in the same town, the same police station, to report a pedophile manipulating his daughter to send him dirty pictures, right? Sending
Wow.
his daughter but dirty pictures. They took 6 hours to turn up at his door, and instead of investigating the crime, taking down some details, finding out what's going on, they were ready to charge the 11-year-old girl with porn, creating porn.
Wow.
Right?
That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
You know, there's a reason. This is what I tell people. There's a reason why nature put the older living things in charge of the younger living things, because we have a better understanding of life and a better sense, hopefully, of a better sense of discernment. And it seems as though we are regressing back to a time where we didn't have those assets in our brains any, and it seems like our ability to reason out problems is going away for some reason. As far as people like that are concerned, that, law enforcement and whatnot that's involved in this.
Well, I'm sure they have the brain taken out as part of the 6-week training.
Sure.
No, I do agree with you. But I was trying to point out to Mellows that technically they could both get done. Technically,
Right.
even though she is the victim and definitely groomed by somebody.
Wait,
Did
she actually make a video or send pictures? Is that what
He
happened?
manipulated the girl to send pictures of her boobs.
Right. Okay. Got it. Okay.
And as a result of her doing that, as I say, it's a technicality. I don't think it would ever go anywhere. But you know what coppers are like?
I've heard kids being charged with that. I've heard of that.
You know, regardless
If
of
the
their
child
age.
sent it to him unsolicited, I would say yes. But
Right.
even still, it's just a child. You can't charge a child for such an offence. Do you know what I mean? It'd be, if anything, a civil infraction, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah,
You
I've
know,
heard mention of something like that. See, I like, unlike a lot of people who claim to be scholars on the law that have zero education in the law, I don't claim that. I just, common sense to me says that you would not charge the child, but
no,
like I
because
just
she's
said,
not legally of age to be
right,
responsible
but
for
like
her
I just said,
actions.
I believe that I've heard stories where they have in fact done
If
that.
anything, it would be the guardian or the parent's fault, you know, for
Right.
not keeping an eye on them. But I mean, are you going to arrest the parent for giving the 11-year-old a phone? You know, that's how stupid it sounds.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
you can't put the onus, the responsibility on the child. The
right.
adult should have known better. The adult was the one who manipulated the
Correct.
child into giving him these photos. He should have known better. He was the adult here. You can't
Right.
put the blame on the victim. The
Right.
victim
I
was
believe,
manipulated. He
I
doesn't know
believe
any
that.
better.
Absolutely. I believe
No,
that to be
no,
true.
no. We're in total agreement with you. We're just saying, I mean, if those idiot coppers wanted to try and push it, they possibly could. But I don't think that it
Idiots.
would look good on the town.
No, but then again, nowadays, right is wrong and wrong is right. Everything seems to be on its head compared to what I remember when I was growing up, how parents and adults, well, I mean, I wouldn't say everybody, every adult and every parent were great people. I'm just saying that it seems that things that used to be on the fringe are now in the mainstream. And things and points of view that used to be a fringe and people would basically run you out of town for thinking about, nowadays is an acceptable thing. There are people now that are a population where they're even protecting them. They're calling them maps. I can't remember what that means, but it's people that are attracted to adolescents or children, and now they've given them a title called maps, and now people are pushing to have them to be a protected segment of society.
What the minor attracted person?
That's who they are. Yeah, that's it. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, and
Yeah,
there are
over my dead body. Will I ever
right,
accept that?
right. But you know what though? Back in the day, there's a lot of things. I mean, now of course, I think a society should mature in certain aspects of the way they think, but not when it comes to a person, innocence and defenseless people that aren't capable of making adult decisions like that. Aren't people that should be, allowed to become victims, knowingly. But our society seems to be going in that direction to me.
In any kind of relationship between an adult and a minor, in those sort of situations,
Right.
in my opinion, the sole liability and the onus is on
Is
the
the
adult,
adult.
because he is
Right.
he is the authority here. The child is under the impression that that they should obey whatever that person's saying for whatever reason, whether it's either through intimidation, coercion, or just plain trickery, because this is what it is at the end of the day. The girl didn't know what she was doing, and she was
Right.
tricked into it, right?
Oh, I
To
agree with you 100%.
manipulate.
And Blackwatch, I agree with that. I know that there were a lot of things that went on back in the day that were unsavory and terrible things, and not everybody. That's why I said not everybody was on the up and up. But it seems that in a normal, if you want to use the term normal, when I was in the medical field, normal was a subjective term, it seemed. But it even seems nowadays to be a subjective term in in our society nowadays, what normal actually is. And it's not normal to be attracted to a child, but now people are trying to normalize it. And even back then, there were people attracted to children. I think that's gone back since the beginning of time.
I will
Where
never
people,
accept that.
but I
I
would
will
never
never
accept
accept
it.
it. The programming, no matter what programming woke shit they come out with,
Right.
it will never sit well with me.
No,
I
of
could
course,
never.
of course. I would defend it with deadly force if I had to, if I saw it going
Yeah.
on. I would
Yeah.
definitely try to protect, and I would probably end up in prison doing that as the bad guy nowadays.
Yeah. That is an evil worse than any, in my opinion, right?
Right.
I mean, you could do bad things to people, but when you do bad things to children, right, defenseless, not just
Right.
children, just you got to be the worst type of human, right?
Right. No, I
You're
agree.
you're gonna
100%.
it's like a, I don't know, I can't even put it into words to describe how
All we have to
disgusting.
do is think about what our mindset was when we were children, how naive we were back in those days, right?
For sure.
That's just how you have to think, And then, do you think that you were capable of making some of these decisions? Do you think you could have been easily influenced to do certain things? And the answer to those questions a lot of times is yes, you could have been, because kids are very impressionable and very easily manipulated from an adult who's been around much longer with a lot more experience. The kids can be given and baited into doing different things, such as what this young lady was baited into.
Clearly,
And
yeah.
it's absolutely
Clearly,
true.
she didn't do it of her own free will,
Right.
because she doesn't know any better. She doesn't
Right.
understand anything. Do you know what I mean? You can't put the onus on her.
Right. But it's the
It's a bit
same.
like blaming the raped victim for being attacked by the rapist. And
But what we have
incarcerating the
nowadays,
victim and punishing the victim.
all you have to do is go to the topic that you're now seeing going
This is
on in
madness.
libraries
This is
and
insane, man. This
schools,
is the world
where
upside
they're
down.
sexualizing our children and allowing them access things that I would never even been thought to have had access to back when I was a child. Nowadays is being pushed on a lot of children. Books that are
Yeah, this
sexualizing our
is
children.
mad.
I'm just telling you that I believe society is starting to go that way. And I believe that whatever makes you feel good, if you're an adult, that is, with the caveat that you're an adult, is right, true, and correct, and you're allowed to do it. I think that's the way our society is going, and it's disgusting.
So what's the bet now that this guy, whoever he is, right? He's a Thin Blue Gang member.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
Come on, has anyone run a like a let's run a bill. Let's see if we can find out whether this guy he was
Right.
actually one of them.
I wish we
You
would
know?
stop calling it the thin blue line, by the way. I wish we would just call it the circle, because the circle is surrounding them in a protective way, like almost like a force field. The thin blue
Well,
line is not really a
yeah,
line. It's a circle. It
I
surrounds
actually
them with
call
the
them the
sharp
Thin Blue
ends.
Gang,
Right.
because that's all they are. They're a gang. They're a bunch of
Absolutely.
thugs, basically.
Now, I'm
with
not a
clan
sovereign citizen type or anything like that, and I don't know. I'm sorry. I want to introduce my sisters. I'm going to hop off here in a minute if you don't mind, Graham. If with your permission, Mellows, with your permission. What my channel does is I actually started off going after the anti-auditing channels. That's what my channel was centered around, and I tried to stop a lot of the misinformation out there about auditing and about different things. They claim to debunk things, but their debunking is based on just their feelings, is essentially is what happens. And so I go back and I try to hit that person with actual cold hard facts, with hopefully not as much emotion as they put into it. But at the same time, but now my channel, I'm starting to see the light on a lot of different things that I didn't see before. And I'm trying to basically say, look, just come to my channel and I'm giving you what I believe to be the truth. So I'm calling out auditors for doing certain things just as much as I'm calling out the anti-auditing community as well, because I think that if you go out and you profess to be an auditor, trying to expose corruption, you should be doing that, but you should not be doing that involving yourself in childish antics and being an instigator, not saying the camera's instigative at all, which I don't believe it to be. I believe the auditor needs to remove themselves from the process or from the story as much as possible and become an observer of the way these people respond to you exercising your right, not the recording of someone reacting to your childish behavior or your antagonistic.
Are there auditors that you like?
Yeah, there are. Absolutely. I am not
Who's your-
an anti-auditor by any stretch. And I'm a veteran, and in the United States,
Right.
I know I'm a veteran, and I believe in that oath that I swore to our American Constitution and
It's really eye-opening, especially, you know what you just said, right? It's kind of, it's good because you said, you know, you admitted you was kind of anti-auditing, and then you kind of seen the light, and now you see the
No,
value,
I
the
was
true-
never anti-auditor. No, I started off being a pro-auditor 100%, not really addressing the issues in our time. I was just saying, nope, I support them. They're an auditor. That's it. But now what I'm doing is saying, no, wait a minute. You can't support people blindly well, actually, let me go back a little bit. I was a 100% bootlicker about 4 years ago. Okay. And then auditing channels, people like yourself, I'm assuming you're an auditor.
I'm not, but I've been around for a while.
Right. Okay. So people like you changed my mind. Okay. My mind is able to be changed. I wouldn't say that I am perfect in any way at that type of thing, but my mind, I tell people that all the time. My mind, it can evolve into understanding someone else's point of view, even though I may not initially agree with it. I just have to look at the facts, and then I try my best to be on the right side if there is one, right? So at least in my own understanding of it. And so when I started seeing what auditors were doing, I believed in it. But now I'm starting to see things like, I'll give you an example, just an example. There's a auditor by the known, he's huge. He's called Accountability for All. Now, a lot of people love
I know, Josh.
Josh, and they love Banana Anna, and they love that, right? But then I started to look at it through a different lens. I've taken the veil off of my eyes, and I look now more at, okay, is what they're doing exposing the government, or is what they're doing entertainment for their viewers? Now, maybe a little bit of both, right? But on the other side of that, they were going after a gentleman. Let's just put it, one of my videos out there. They were going after a gentleman, accusing him of being a pedophile in a library when there was no evidence that the gentleman was indeed doing what they were accusing him of. And they were chasing him around the library, accusing him of that. And then there was one before that where they found an old man who was actually volunteering his time in his town, not getting paid for what he was doing. He closed the blinds on him, and then they engaged him in a game of childish peekaboo.
Yeah, I remember that one. That's funny.
It may be funny. It may be funny, but it's
no, I've got to say, I've watched that video. I know Josh as well, and
right. But
that
I
was a
don't,
really
I don't
funny
consider
video.
that to be a good representation
He
of a
tricked him as
cause.
well. He went to he changed his voice, and he
Right, but I
pretended
don't
to be
support
someone
that.
else.
I don't support that because I believe those things. If I'm trying to support a thing based on the sacrifices of people who I served with, a man like I always talk about that I served with took a bullet to the forehead and died 10 years later.
Have you watched many of Josh's videos?
I've watched tons of his videos. I have been in the
He's done a
auditing
lot of
community.
good work, man. He has
He
done a lot of
has.
good work.
He has,
Yeah.
but I am willing to call a spade on the other side of it too. I don't believe you should be able to support anyone blindly just because you believe in one aspect, but when you see them doing something wrong, you're not willing. It's just like a family member, right? When you see a family member,
you know, if you're working in the government,
guys, let's not get into an argument over this.
right. I'm not trying to get an argument. No, we're having a discussion.
No, we're just having a. I was just going to say, you know, on Josh's side, because he's not here to.
Right. I'm not. I
defend
don't
himself.
feel any anger or any malice or anything. I'm just having.
I watched that video. I found that really entertaining.
Right,
It
and
was
we can
funny.
disagree and still be okay. You know.
I understand. I remember you mentioned that the guy was a voluntary, right?
Right.
But whether you're voluntary or not, and you're in a public position,
Right.
public role, there's no excuse for your bad behavior, right?
Right,
And
but there's also no excuse to react to it. You break contact. You don't continue once you've established that that person is not interested in your video recording, and they don't act right, then you are there to record that, but you're not to then go and act like a child because of the way that someone treats you. You go through the proper channels and say, hey, look, there's a gentleman out front. He treated us rudely. He did this, and this. And then you show that. You make them look like the assholes. You don't want to appear as the asshole. That's what I'm saying. If I am just there to observe and capture the way government is reacting to me exercising my right, that's one thing. But then to go in and be a punitive asshole about a situation,
but
that's
to
a
be
whole
fair,
nother
he
thing.
wasn't an arsehole to him until he was being an arsehole.
But that's not. But that's not. I don't believe. To me, in my eyes, in my view of auditing, that's not what it.
No, I mean, if
should
someone's
be.
being an arsehole to you, right?
Can I say
Fair game,
that?
though, isn't it?
Yeah, can I just interrupt the pair of you a second,
Absolutely.
please? Cheers. I don't want this to get into
No, we're having a sensible conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not angry. I'm not. I'm just
Yeah.
having a discussion. That's all.
Yeah, the point is, it's not fair on AFA because he's not here.
Oh no, I get that. I get that.
I've,
I
you
understand.
know,
Yeah.
and I'm, I've left a few comments in the chat go
Right.
by as well. I mean, they're getting a bit close to being personally insulting towards people.
Right. Right.
So, it's as I say, I get where you're coming from. You're looking at it from a perspective of, is it auditing or is it entertainment? And I would
Or
say,
is it antagonistic?
well, antagonistic, some people find entertaining.
Right.
But you're playing to your particular audience.
Can I just ask something? As regards to the antagonizing parts, right?
Right.
These officers, police officers, in particular, right? Public officials, public tax-paying, who are earning. Some of them get compensated really well for doing that
Absolutely.
job, whatever it is that they do.
That's true.
And we expect them, right, to conduct themselves in a professional manner at all times.
Right.
Never mind, despite whether somebody's black, white, green, pig, Muslim, Christian, got a phone in his hand or not,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
all of those, especially for you guys over there, are all covered under the First Amendment.
Right.
Everything, religion, press, speech, it's all supposed to be protected, right?
is,
So
in
when
my
people
opinion,
phone
it should be that
police
way.
who are swore an oath to protect those rights, and they come with body cams, record this, which is the hypocrisy. This is weird, right? Everybody's got cameras. You walk past 10,000 cameras, but you want to single my camera out.
Right. I'm not.
You don't like my
anti that
camera
at all.
because my funny hair, or because I'm
No,
Jewish,
no.
or because
What I'm
I've
saying
got green
is,
shoes, or
it's not the camera that I'm against at all. I think the camera's fine. I believe you should. Here's what I tell people, and if you watch my videos, you'll start. I don't think that you completely understand what I do, but and a lot of people don't until they see what my videos, and then they go, "Oh shit, okay, I get it." It's not. I believe that if you are in a public area, whether it be a government building or if you're outside on a public sidewalk, as long as you're within the confines of a place that is generally accessible to the public, which could be a government building, a lobby, a foyer, a hallway, any of that, I believe you have an absolute right to record your public servants in the course of their duties. 100%,
Perfect.
full stop, right? I believe that 110% with every fiber of my being. Okay. If there is a police officer out doing their job, in whatever capacity they're doing it in, and you out there and you want to record that, absolutely. Even if I'm a desk clerk and I am just doing some mundane tasks such as filing paperwork, filling out whatever, I believe that is your absolute positive 100% right. Because if you're against someone recording with a camera, then you should be against everybody that walks in there with a notepad and a pen, because you can do about the same thing. You're just not getting to get the visual so much, but you can record everything on that piece of paper that you hear and see. Right. So no, I have no problem, zero problem. As a matter of fact, I think it should go even further. I think anywhere the general public is allowed to be, whether it be a a place that they call a non-traditional or traditional public forum, I believe that talks about expressive activity. I don't believe that it talks about a activity such as a camera. A camera is supposed to be a passive activity. You're not there having your protest with your loud signs and your megaphones and whatnot. I'm 100% on board with auditing. I am not 100% on board with treating people lesser than you or acting below your IQ level when it comes to, because here's what I'll just give you, for instance, I'm a parent, right? And my son's an adult now, right? But what I used to say to him is, when somebody's doing something to you, right, you want to make it obvious that they're the aggressor, that they're the
Yeah.
one in the wrong, right? You don't want to blur the lines. You don't want to make people say, well, yeah, but you did this and you fucked around and did that, right? You want to be the one that people look at and go, nope, he is in the right, and no, he is in the wrong. Now, of course, there's a lot of situations where that's not real possible, but you get what I'm saying, right? So an auditor goes in, right, and starts recording the public, or recording the public, or a public servant or whatever, and then the camera captures that person reacting to the camera, or like you said, the way he's dressed, the color of his skin, the whatever they may
It's
find fault
weird
with.
though, because you would think, the guy's got a camera. I better behave myself even more than the usual, because I'm going to look like an idiot, right?
Right. That's my
Don't
whole
you
point.
think?
I don't want the auditor. See, that's where I think the confusion comes in. And I think that if auditors would conduct themselves a little bit better than they some of them have been, I think the
No,
story
I don't
would
know if about
shine.
auditors. I've watched a lot of auditors. I mean, do you know a guy called Audit Tim?
I know almost every man. Let me tell you something, man.
Good
My
Guy Audits. These are
I
some of the
know
most
all of them.
polite
I know Good
auditors
Guy
you'll ever
Audits.
hear.
I know STC Audits.
Respectful.
Yeah, absolutely. I know News Now Ninja. I know Nasty
Yeah.
Nathaniel. I know Am Against It Press. Believe me, I was an auditing junkie before I ever even thought about putting a channel on. And what happened was, I can tell you this. What happened is when I started, I'm a disabled guy. Okay, I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled guy, and I'm a shut-in. I don't go out of my property very often at all.
Yeah.
And so I was very frustrated that I could not go out and audit because of my limitations, right? So I was so frustrated with that, because I was so pissed off of what they were capturing and showing me watching it on YouTube, that I was like, what the fuck can I do to help these people? So I am relatively gifted in writing, I guess you can say. And so I would go and I would send emails, I would make phone calls, but I always conducted myself in a way that, just to use an example, that my mother would be proud of. Okay. I always conveyed the message that I was not okay with what the government was doing, or the law enforcement officer, or whomever was being filmed was doing, but I didn't engage in childish or rude behavior, because I believe that when you start doing that, you start engaging another part of people's natural persona and their natural instinct to become defensive and to make you look like the bad person. And it takes away your right. They try to go after you because they say, well, look what he did. This is why we're making this law, to prevent this shit, because this person is doing nothing but harassment. But if you are just a more of a passive observer and report the reaction to your camera and not a reaction to your personality or your actions that you do that some people would find to be objective or to be a problem, then you aren't doing that movement much any good. You cannot be wrong and still be right.
Can
You
I
can't.
just ask you something?
Right.
Do you still live in the United Free States of America?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So if you're not allowed, if you're not, don't have the right to freely express yourself in any way you can in the United States of America,
Never
are you
said
free?
that's not a problem. No, I agree with that, but you don't have a right to be rude when it comes to.
Well, why not?
No, let me take
Why
that back.
not? Why not?
You
Don't I?
don't.
Can I not be rude?
You should not be. You should not.
Would you
treat people
consider me
rude.
picking my nose in front of you while you're eating rude?
Right, I would, but you have a right to do that, and I agree with that. And I
All
believe
right.
that you have a
So
right
would you
to
call the
walk into a
police
place wearing a
on me
shirt
because
saying,
I picked my nose in front of you while you're eating your burger?
no,
Would you call?
no, I
Do you
would
see
never
what?
do
You
that.
see where that logic takes us?
I know, but what I'm saying is,
It's
I
not a
don't
free
believe.
country anymore, is it?
Right, but I don't believe that you should be able to go up and act like a shithead and expect
Well, if you
someone
haven't
to.
got the right to go up and act like a shithead to someone who's been a shithead to you, then
No,
you
no,
don't have
no.
any rights at all.
But I think you want to convey that they were being the shithead, and you don't want to blur the lines to your audience. Is all I'm saying. To
Look,
get
being
some
a
more
shithead
support.
is being a shithead illegal.
No, and I'm not even talking about that. All I'm saying is I want the
So
government to
technically, you
be.
could go in public and be a shithead to everybody and not
You
break the law,
could.
right?
You could absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not
And that
talking
is
about
your right to do that in America.
absolutely. Absolutely it is.
So
But
why
what I'm
not protect that right?
But what I'm saying is, if you go in, if you're an auditor and you say on the camera, "Hey, look, I'm going to go in there and act like a shithead and see how they react to me," right?
Right, but the auditor is not being paid by the taxpayer, right? The
No,
police
I
officer, the
understand all
chief of the
that.
police, the sheriff, he's been paid, compensated really well to behave
I
himself in a
think
professional manner.
I
And so
think
when
we're
he comes across
missing.
somebody who's behaving like a shithead, which is
Right,
his every right to do,
right,
right? He wants to abuse his authority, right, and violate this man's rights and
right.
detain him unlawfully,
To be honest
illegally,
with
maybe
you,
even tase him,
I
put some
think
cuffs on him to torture him, put him in a cage, you
right. All of
know.
that. I'm
Look,
against all of that. I'm against all of that. 100%. I'm against all of that. I don't believe that they should do all of those things that you just mentioned. I think I agree with you, and I know that I agree with you, and I think you agree with me. I just don't think you fully understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you want support for a movement, you want people to go against the right people, which is the government, to go against them. You don't want them to go against you. And everybody has their different levels of understanding about what an auditor does. But if, as a whole, if auditors come out more smelling like roses than the government does, then it puts the pressure more on the government, because everybody has different levels of tolerance for, call it bullshit, whatever you want to call it, or being a shithead even, right? And if you want people to support your movement, you want to put the focus on the actual problem, which is the government responding to your rights in a negative way. You don't want to come off as being an asshole, because you don't get a lot of support when you're the one. Even if you aren't the one that's initially doing it, you are starting to blur the lines. You should go and record that and then do and show them for who they are, which are assholes that are trying to put a kibosh on your rights. But I
Hey,
don't
excuse
believe.
me.
Right.
Hey, man, I think you guys are like the blurring the lines that you're talking about. I mean, in some way you're
Wait, who am
blurring
I
the
talking with?
lines
I'm
too.
sorry. Who
Oh,
am I?
this is the fallen. I'm right down here.
Okay, I
if you
can't
can
see
see
it.
me.
I just see a.
I
just
can't.
see a.
They took the whole picture off. But
Right,
anyway,
right.
the blur in the lines comes from
There you go.
the same as a cult of personality. A lot of what you're like failing to understand in that aspect of getting your point across is the cult of personality. All of these auditors have this cult of personality. Their following is a cult of personality. It's the personality of the auditor. It's like Vigilante Media or Mellows. He's under that same cult of personality. He goes, what's wrong with me pissing somebody off who's been rude to me, and I have the right to do it because it's freedom of speech. So I'm gonna like
I'm not
not
saying
quite
it's right.
understand
I'm saying
your concept of going, hey, that's blurring the lines. It's like you gotta control yourself because it's like in I'm not sure, but across the pond they have public order offenses or something. Of you can
yeah.
go up to a certain point, and then it's disturbing the peace. Then it's a public order offense, and you start that's then you start blurring the lines because there's where the lines start getting blurred when you start committing offenses of the public order, I guess you might say.
Inciting words, for instance, using words
Right.
that
It's
you know that would incite a rage in people's mind, in people, you know, incite a
Yeah, like
reaction.
quit being such
Incite-
an idiot. Yeah, like don't be a moron. It's like they said on a lot of things that I do believe that came around in my head. It's almost like mockery now makes the world go around. It's like you have to mock somebody for to either get attention or yeah, you let them have it. Yeah, you destroyed that tyrant. Yeah, you did this or yeah, another auditor got slammed. Another
Well,
sob sit just got
the,
slammed into
my
the
my
dungeon or
argument
something.
my argument is we can't bend down to this wokeness, right? Because I mean, I think about comedians, for instance. They literally make their bread and butter on offending people. I mean, if you're going to start making offending people illegal, we won't have any comedy anymore. There won't be no, you know, everything. Every time some comedian goes up and says a cracking joke, he's going to get arrested for it. I mean, how far do we take this? We don't. If we
Well,
don't have people to offend something,
that's a different venue. A comedian
no,
inside of a
it's
theater
exactly the
is a
same. It's
different.
exactly the same path.
No,
It
because
is
that's a
exactly the same
public
path.
order. You're not going to get a public order offense unless you start getting racist. Then you're going to start becoming a public order offense, and you're going to become disturbing a peace. Is that venue is allowed that. I'm sitting there. I went there. I know this comedian is super offensive, and I'm like, I'm going to let him do it to me because that's entertainment. Where you're out in a public venue, and the whole dynamic changes. There's a change of
True.
dynamic when you go into a theater to hear a comedian than you're out on the public street taking your camera and peeking through people's windows. And then when they come out and say, hey, man, I don't like that. And they go, well, you better close your blinds if you want privacy. And they go back in there and they close their blinds and then they start mocking them and making fun of them. Yeah, look, they closed their blinds. Yeah, look, we got another cam back. Look, that's what we call a cam back when somebody gets their camera and puts it back on us. It's like they just got all these mockery terms, like you're saying, for these people that confront them or they confront out in a public venue. It's like a cult of personality. They're blurring the lines. All the lines are getting blurred. Going into a parking lot saying, if I can't come in this parking lot without a camera, nobody comes in this parking lot. So put up a no trespassing sign and you've just blocked all the public from going where they've gone before. I've made this comment here before. And it's like, and then to claim that, well, if I now feel that sign is invading my constitutional rights, then I must take my resources and I must go in and challenge that sign because somebody who didn't know that wasn't allowed their camera got it jacked up for everybody. It's like that same thing. It's like the lines are getting blurred by a lot of people because they're a cult of personality. They say they're there for the public's rights and we're to stand up against these tyrants, but they're not even considering the harm that they're causing. And then their claim is it's up to me then to fix the harm that they caused me because I can't go through that parking lot I've always been to because now there's a no trespassing sign up. Now I'm going to get charged because somebody got a little pain in the rear because they couldn't go back there with their camera and start filming everything. I mean, there's a line that everybody has to pay attention to and listen to so we can all get along. So that you're not messing my rights up by getting signs put up. Well, if you don't want us in there, lock the door. So now when we go into our public buildings, we get to go down a hallway to a window, and now the blinds are drawn, so we don't even get to see who we're talking to because of all of this blowback from the way that it's being treated, claiming they're doing us public people a favor. They're standing up for our rights when I'm not going to say a lot, but in quite a few cases, they're harming it. Where's the law that says I can't come in here and film? I don't see no law. I don't see no sign. And they're just begging and then getting laws passed and then telling me now I have to go in and challenge it with my resources while they're making AdSense and ad revenue off of YouTube videos. Well, they should go in and challenge that sign that just got put up. I shouldn't have to go do it because I'm Joe Public now, and I have to go fight to get that sign taken down. They should have to go fight and get that sign taken down, that they actually believed it was wrong for it to even get put up because they should be back there with their cameras. Well, now there's a no trespassing sign put on the public. They just got that put on the public. And now it's not my obligation and my job to go try to get it taken down with the resources I've earned while they're earning resources by getting no trespassing signs put up on me, claiming they're doing it for my rights and for my well-being. And that's totally false. It's a lie that they're perpetrating within themselves and their community. That's just a fact. And that's a truth that a lot of people aren't understanding because of all the blurred lines. It's like, do what you want to do, but then there comes a public offense. There comes a disturbance of the peace. And to not understand.
When you try to hold your government accountable and they decide to exact their punishment and revenge on every citizen, right? And make it more difficult for you to be able to use the public services, right? And deny people public access and public services. You're saying because this crooked, corrupt government has just gone and done even more of an overreach, that is solely that is the blame of the auditors. You put
I'm
that
saying
blame
that
on
that's
the
what the auditors have to recognize within themselves when they're doing stuff as a
So you don't even
self-recognizable.
recognize the
Wait, let
crooked,
me
corrupt,
finish. Let me answer.
overreach
Let me
government.
answer. It's a self-recognizable responsibility. They have to have a self-recognizable responsibility. It's only a just action within themselves, and for anybody to ask of them.
Which ones are getting paid by the public? Who are getting the auditors or the?
It's
or
not
public
about the.
who are denying
Well, no,
services?
because the auditors are getting paid by the public too, by advertisements, advertisements, by
That's not from the public. That's from
super
Google.
chats
Well,
and
can I
just
step in just one
PayPal.
thing because I gotta
PayPal.
drop off if you don't mind just for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe things, and I agree with about I would say 95% of what you're saying, Mr. Fallon. What I'm saying is there is a better ethical way to approach auditing. I'm talking about ethics. I'm not talking about legalities. I'm talking about ethics. If you want people to support your movement, okay, and believe me, there is nobody out there that I can think of that has put in more time, more money, more effort in supporting auditors blindly until I started to realize some of the things that Mr. Fallon was saying is that it's a lot of times I don't see them doing things that are serving the public so much as far as representing our rights and saying, okay, this is our right to record. Let's put it this way. As a journalist, do you want to become the story or do you want to show the story to the public? And I don't believe a journalist should enter themselves into the story so much as auditors do. But the right of recording, in my opinion, is absolute in a public area. right? It's absolute. I don't think there's any doubt in that. And the way people respond to the camera is different than the way they're responding to you playing peekaboo, okay, or calling them all
Can
kinds
the
of
camera
weird
make you do
derogatory-
something that you shouldn't do?
No, see, that's the point you're
Right.
missing. That's the point you're missing. I don't
That's
have a
right.
problem with the camera. I think what you're supposed to be doing with the camera is recording those reactions that you just said. The camera's not making them do anything. I agree with that. But that's where it stops. You don't need to, it's not like, okay, he touched me. Okay, now I need to touch him. Okay, he touched me back. Okay, now I need to touch him. We need to quit being childish with the auditing and audit and exercise your right to audit if that's what you're doing. And an audit, the definition of audit is examining something, right? So when you go in there and you ask for your Freedom of Information Act and you want their wages and their salaries and their information, that is an audit, right? You want to know how much they're spending. But very rare do I see auditors give that information to their viewers. What kind of audit is that when I can't even see if
Do you subscribe to Audit Them?
I subscribe to almost every auditor out there that has audit.
Audit Them. He literally does. I mean, he's the Freedom of Information guru. That's all he does.
I'm
Freedom of
very
Information.
familiar with them. Yeah.
He's very respectful. He's very knowledgeable,
Right.
and I mean, when he goes and does an audit, man, it's an educational video. This guy,
Right.
he spits some knowledge. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And
And,
he still
that's what
gets.
I'm talking about is being respectful is all I'm saying. That's
Well,
what
I mean, even though you say being respectful, but even though he is being respectful, he still meets that same level of ignorance, that same level of
See what you
intolerance,
just said? You just said he meets that same level of ignorance.
same level
And
of
that's
ignorance.
exactly
Yeah.
true. That's exactly true. He becomes just the same level of ignorance. And he shouldn't. They shouldn't do that. They should have a personal, respectful responsibility within
Well,
themselves.
you would hope that a
Like
public official,
Khaled says,
you would hope that a
like
public
Khaled
official
says,
who's
don't
getting
be the
compensated
story.
really well from the taxpayer would
Don't
behave
be the
themselves.
story. Don't
What
be
I'm
the
trying to say is
story.
you would hope that a public official who gets paid, compensated really well, right, to behave himself
Mhm.
professionally, would behave themselves professionally, especially when somebody has a camera pointed at them.
right,
Especially,
Well,
but they
but they
are
don't.
human nonetheless.
don't.
People are naturally just emotional by default. People have it's okay to be human.
Well,
'Cause I-
some people with guns and badges and they're
Right.
that emotional shouldn't be in that position, and they should.
well, I
they should
disagree with that
basically-
because every single person on the planet has emotions.
You just said they're emotional. If they're emotional about a camera, what else are we talking about?
No,
here?
I'm talking about
You shouldn't. You're going to give someone
Emotion can be
emotional like that
happy,
who's
sad.
treated with a gun.
No. You're
Emotional
I'm
default.
not talking about that they're making their decisions based on pure emotion. I'm talking about everyone has a breaking point. Everybody has an ego. It doesn't matter what position they're in. Everybody's human.
Ego. These people with egos, right, and guns, right, get compensated really well to behave
Right.
themselves in a professional manner, and yet
Correct.
they don't.
But when they don't,
And yet
that's
they
what
don't.
you're
And when
there
they
for.
don't, it's the auditor's fault for
No,
provoking
no.
and
See, you're
instigating
missing
and
that. You're
shoving a
missing
camera
that.
in his face.
You're missing
Meanwhile,
that.
it
No,
was
sir.
the officer that came from
He's
20 feet
purposely
away,
missing
shoved
it.
his face in the guy's camera
You're
while he's
missing
He's
wearing a
on
body
exactly
purpose
what I'm
missing
saying.
it.
You're missing
He-
exactly what I'm saying.
No, he's
I'm
on
not
purpose
talking
missing
about.
it.
I'm not
It's-
talking about what the officer is done. If the officer does something wrong, absolutely record that and get that on camera. But you don't have to be retaliatory in your action. You show that camera. The object is to get that on camera, put it on YouTube, and say, "Hey, look what this asshole, this government is doing to us," right? And then your viewers get outraged, and then they go and they make their phone calls, they send their emails, they pay for your bail and so on and forth. This guy was an innocent bystander just capturing what this officer did, and the officer reacted to him filming or recording that situation, and they should have never done that. They should have never arrested him for just recording there as a passive observer. But that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. The auditors are starting to become the story, and that's not what the story is. The story is how they react to the camera. That's the story. And for someone to act like
when they become the story, the reason why they become the story most of the time is because they get arrested unlawfully. Right. So then, of course, they become the story.
That
how
part,
else are you
yeah,
gonna
I get that, yeah.
Right. So I don't get it. I mean, at the end of the day, the auditor is not getting paid to act in a professional manner, right? And you've got freedom of speech over there. And when a rude officer, right, is being ignorant of the law and ignorant of his position and ignorant of the fact that this man can record him, and he's being rude and abusive,
And that's where you take the
when
high
the
ground.
auditor replies back to him and tells him to go and fuck himself or whatever he says to him in a disrespectful manner, right? You can't then put the blame on, and excuse the officer's behavior.
Well, I'll give you an
Right?
example.
Because he knows it's being recorded.
Yeah,
Everyone
I'll
knows
give you an example. I'll give you an example
If
too.
it's-
It's just like me being John Doe of general public who watches an auditor, and then a cop comes up to me or a tyrant comes up to me and starts giving me some kind of cop splaining, and I give him the finger, tell him to F off and happy F the cops day. You know what I mean? But then that's me personally, but me representing like I'm going to represent what a tyrant is, and then display that out as press. And now I'm going to say that I'm press. I'm my first constitutional being the press. That then I have to try to understand that there's a personal responsibility within myself. Like that he's saying is not become part of the story. You have to be passive. You have to be passive so that then if your viewers or then if whoever reads your paper or watches your news program then decides this is how I myself will interact with these tyrants if they ever come up to me, because I see a passive interaction in what they'll do, then I get to make that choice, not somebody else make the choice for me to have to
Can I just say
take a
that
detour
that
around the
is your
parking lot.
Can I just point out that is your personal opinion, right? And at the end of the day, people have the right to do whatever they want, say whatever they want, behave
No, they
any way
don't.
they
Well, they
want.
do, but there's consequences. People have the right to
Well,
do
yeah,
whatever they want, but there's going to
they
be
do
consequences to it.
within the scope
So
of
at
the
the
law.
end of the day,
I mean,
you have to
you
behave
can flip
yourself.
off. You can flip a
You have to be self-governing. If you don't want somebody else governing you,
yeah,
you
I
should
get
be
what you're
able to
saying.
govern
Whether it's right
yourself.
or wrong is irrelevant. The point, my point is that the police officer, the public enforcement officer, the public are paying for his professionalism. Now he must remain professional at all times.
You
The
know, yeah,
onus
but
is on him.
everybody knows,
The onus is on him
even
to
in the
remain professional.
auditing world, is that police can't have a too high of an IQ. Everybody knows that. If you have too high of an
Doesn't
IQ,
excuse them.
they get to dismiss you. Yeah, well, it's not an excuse, but it's a direct knowledge. It's a fact. It's a fact.
All right. So,
Whether it's
Chris,
an
you're saying
excuse, it's
so.
not an excuse.
Let's
It's a
just say,
fact.
because what you're saying is because they're all dumb fuckers, we should just allow them to violate people's rights every now and then.
No, we're not talking
No,
about
I'm
them violating
saying,
the rights. We're talking about
yeah,
capturing them violating a passive person's
right.
rights.
That's
You
right.
what?
Being the press.
If
Being the
you're the
press
press, you
is
need to. If you
Everyone has the
claim to
right
be
to
the
free press. Do you not?
right?
Do you not have the right to free press?
But anyway, gentlemen, it was a great discussion
yeah.
on both sides. I need to go, but I appreciate you having us up, Grim, and
Yeah,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
everybody's, and I appreciate you, Mellows, and I appreciate you, the Fallen. And
Thank you, mate.
believe me, there is no. I enjoyed the discussion, and I. By the way, I commend those, not just myself, but everybody here, for not becoming a somebody who is personally attacking anyone, which is rare nowadays. So that is commendable.
Thank you.
No, I don't attack people.
Right.
I like
Even
to
in
have
the
a
chat, we
discussion.
don't attack.
Yeah, but it
I
happens
do
all the
like
time.
to
It
debate
happens
and
all the
discuss
time.
people.
Great panel, Grim, and great channel that you have here. This is my first time, I believe, I was on your chat, on your panel, and the way you manage it is outstanding. And I shared your video, this panel, on my channel, and I will do more to try to represent your channel on my channel to try to get more people over here, because this is great.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So
Have
this
a
is a
great day,
group
guys.
effort. But
Hey, have a
cheers.
great day.
Thanks, mate.
That's what happens when we meet people from different areas. You do have sometimes a different discussion than normal. And I can see both sides of the argument and who's chewing.
I can see that too, because it's just like Mellows is saying. They should, I mean, honestly, I mean, in true honesty, they should by default be on their best behavior that anybody could be for as intelligent as they are. I mean, anything. It should, they should always act on their best
They
behavior,
should be
whether it's
thinking,
their
fuck, there's a camera there. I better behave myself, right? Even more so
but
than I
even
normally
if
do.
there's not, they should do it by default so that even
Right.
if the camera's there, it don't catch them off guard. Because if you do something by default all the time, it's not going to matter who steps up
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
what steps up.
My theory is if you're not doing anything that you shouldn't be doing, then you don't have any problem with it. You shouldn't have any problem with the camera. You walk past 10,000 cameras every single day just to go to work. You work under 100 cameras. You wear a camera, but you have a particular problem with someone else holding a camera. I mean, how ridiculous and hypocrisy
Right,
is that?
because
That's
they have control of it, which is like a flip flop on what the whole operation was for anyway. Because it was for
But you can do
transparency. It
a
was
freedom
for
of
us.
information request and request all of that video.
You shouldn't even have to do that. That
Right.
should be ours on a database that we're able to look up
Online,
without a
accessible
freedom
to
of
everyone at all time.
That's
Yes,
right.
I
That's
agree.
how it's.
No
That's
muting
how
of the
it
body cam, no redacting, nothing.
That's right. I mean, because everything else is. I mean, it's like your Ring camera, this, that, all them cameras that you're walking by. You may not have access to them. So I do believe that I should, if I went to a business, I should have to prove to them in some way that I need that thing. I just can't go in there and demand that they give it to me because that invades their privacy and stuff like that. But
It's
as
ridiculous.
public
There is no
service,
expectation of
all
privacy.
of that should be available. We should just be able to, it should almost be like court dockets that when you go
Look,
in and you want
even
to,
on private property, if you was to go onto private property, say you walked into a Walmart, right? It's private property, and you started recording. It's open to the public. They can request you leave, right? Now, it's private property, right? It's publicly
it's a
accessible.
public accommodation
They
though.
can't
That's
stop
where
you.
the line is
They
blurred.
can't stop you from recording. They can't obstruct you from recording. They can't hit you or hurt you or put their hands on you or try to take your camera off you. They can't do that. All of those things are a crime. What you're doing is not a crime. What you're doing is a civil infraction. You are trespassing, which is a civil infraction, not a criminal infraction.
Well, you're
They've
not
asked you to
trespassing yet. You're not
Well,
trespassing
until they've
yet.
asked you to leave, and when they've asked you to leave, they have to give you a reasonable amount of time for you to
Right.
leave. There's
Right.
no
Then
time
you
limit.
be right.
And even if
Well,
they can't stop you from. No, my point is they can't stop you from recording on that private property. They can ask you to leave, and that is it. That's it.
yeah, I mean, because I wouldn't even be hard if they just go, man, you got like 30 minutes to get your shopping done, and then you're out of here. You know, if you're going to record your stuff, blah, 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 you know, you got 30 minutes because a lot of people don't like what you're doing. But, you know, as me being a private owner of a public accommodation, it's like those rules set up for different things. But the person recording, because I have the right to journal my life, just like you do. It's just like that free press. We all have the right to journal our own life, our own
Anything you can see, you can record. You can't
right. I
trespass
mean,
the
because
eyes.
your eyeballs do it. That's their whole thing, is what your eyes
You
can
can't
see.
trespass the eyes.
can record.
If you're not allowed to see it, if, for instance, if you walk into a doctor's office, right, and there's all personal, private information lying around everywhere, and you can see it, never mind recording it, just the act of you seeing it, they're the ones that are in breach of GDPR, right, of data protection, right? They
Right.
are the
Now,
ones
see,
that
the problem,
the onus
blurred
is on
line
them to
becomes
keep
is, if
that
you don't want
information
me,
away from the public.
I get it, but hey, what I'm saying is the public, when you're doing it to a public, not a private ownership, public accommodation, but a
Even
public,
if you go
a
into,
government.
let's just say you walked into a business, right?
No,
And this
not a
business dealt with
business. not a business. Let's say a school bus parking lot, and you want to take your camera in there and go, I can see in there. So if you don't want me seeing in this public property, you need to close it off and block it off. And then they close it and block it off to me. And it shouldn't be closed and blocked off to me. Now, in a private business, I could understand that. Hey, if you want privacy and this and that, but as a public place, they shouldn't, you're right, they shouldn't leave public papers out or whatever in that aspect. But to go then to tell them, if you don't want me seeing in here, close this place off, lock this gate,
No,
lock this door.
they don't
If
have
you
to-
don't want our eyes
Look.
looking in here, and you blur the lines because now you're now
What I'm
invading
trying
on
to say,
my
what
public
I'm trying to
space.
say, Fallen, is the act of recording the data is not the crime, right? The act of allowing that data to be recorded is the crime. You understand? That's where the breach of data is, right?
It's not a crime. There's the
onus is on
blurred line. Tell me how walking
You're
through a police
by
parking lot.
videoing it. You're documenting evidence of a crime. You're not.
No, but that's not what you just said.
What do you mean?
That's not what. Well, that's not what you just said. You said the act of videotaping it is not the crime. The act
No,
of
of course not.
allowing it to be videotaped is the crime. That's
Exactly.
what you said, but that's not
Well, if you
true.
can see it, you can record it. Even if I didn't have a camera and I could just see that information, the crime has already happened. The fact that
No,
I'm
but
recording it, I'm just documenting it, right?
that's
I'm
not. There's the
collecting
blurred
evidence.
line.
Fallen.
There's where we got to come into a agreement, because I don't like, and I hear you, Grim. I'm trying to
instance,
read Grim's mind. I'm trying to read Grim's mind, and so I'm saying that I don't like coming into we have to agree to disagree.
no.
No,
I'm just-
no. Oh, Dango, I was just going to ask you a question. Right, you say about it not being a crime. Okay, let's keep it on the American theme at the moment. You have law which states regarding HIPAA. HIPAA is on the organisation; it's not on the individual going in there. Right. The same with any data; it is down to the organisation to keep safe.
right.
Right.
It's their
So,
problem.
in HIPAA, right, and I see this quite a lot when people go into hospitals or even health centres, right, that are open for the public. Their argument is you're in breach of HIPAA because you're recording information. No, they're in breach of HIPAA because they're allowing it to be, and that's the way the law is
Right.
written.
Okay, so if I take that and I don't have a personal responsibility within myself as being press, I'm going to go out to a school bus parking lot and I'm going to claim that because I'm allowed to see in there, or I'm allowed to walk through this police parking lot that has these police vehicles into it, they're committing a crime by allowing me to see that, by allowing that to be recorded. Me recording isn't committing a crime, but
Only if
them
it's sensitive
allowing.
information, and it falls
Huh?
under.
You
data
can
protection.
record police cars all day long in a
Yeah,
police
I've got
car
you.
park.
Yeah, but now they
You
block
say-
them off.
Yes.
They block off parking lots. They put up signs, no trespassing, authorized
Okay.
personnel
All
only.
right, let's
It's like,
have a
and-
from
But
a
and
that's
so
them
the lines
covering
get blurred.
from a
That's,
But I
that's
mean-
them covering their ass, though, right?
Fallen.
The line isn't blurred. In the States,
Are you
it's called
gay?
the plain view doctrine.
I'm muting.
Let me introduce UK Transparency. He's going to put a point of view from a UK side regarding auditing and where the laws are. We talked a lot about American. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll stay on the American theme. Yeah, the line's not blurred according to a Supreme Court. It's called the plain view doctrine. Anything that you can see from public, you can record.
That's exactly
I
right.
agree. I don't have a just see, here's the thing that a lot of people are, it's like, if we have the ability to like come to some kind of understanding to go, that isn't what anybody would find the problem is. It's not what I find the problem is. I totally agree with that. I totally agree. Whatever I have the right to journal my life. It's a journal entry. People have done it through decades. I mean, they even have diaries. People have video journals. We have the right. It's been granted and it's been authorized and it's been upheld by courts. That
Protected. It's a
we have,
right. It's not a permission.
right.
It's a right.
We have the right, and it's been upheld that that is our right. That it's given us because we have eyeballs. We have this. These are extensions of our ability to journal, a pencil and paper, and us writing it down
There
isn't
is
committing a
time, place,
crime.
manner restrictions. There are in America. There are time, place, and it's similar to over here. But there is time, manner, place restrictions. In other words, you know, obviously, not in restricted areas, publicly accessible areas at the time of opening when the place is open. You know, these are reasonable expectations. So you know, you wouldn't be expected to be in an unauthorized area or even in a publicly accessible area, but during the time of it being closed, because you know, obviously they close the doors. You shouldn't be in there, right? So otherwise, anywhere in public, especially places like town hall and police stations and libraries and anything that's publicly funded, right? Train stations, post office, pretty much any company that's contracting with the council, the local government, is fair game. I mean, pretty much every business. I mean, if you went to walked down the road, right, and a doctor just happened to walk out of a surgery and he was holding a bunch of paperwork, files, and so on, and he dropped them on the floor while you're video blogging, and you happen to take a photograph of the documents that he's just dropped on the floor, right? You're not the one that's broken the law. He is. He was irresponsible enough to drop them on the floor and expose that paperwork to the public.
You're kidding me, though, right? See, this is one of the things that you have to be aware. You have to be well
Yeah,
aware
well,
of.
hang on.
That's
No, if you
almost a
put,
joke.
if you
That's almost no. Let me
publish
finish.
that
Let me
video,
finish. Please let me finish. Please let me
Sure.
finish. That has to be almost a joke because I have to have some personal responsibility within myself, right? This dude just tripped. Maybe he didn't see the cat rush out or the raccoon or whatever, and he just
Right.
tripped and he fell. He's having a bad day. His shoelace was untied, and you're claiming is I have the right. It's not against the
if
law.
you're
But
live
you're
streaming,
actually
there's
corrupt.
not a lot you can do.
You cannot
If
point
you're
it in
live
all the
streaming, if
papers.
you're live
You
streaming, there's not a
cannot.
lot you can
You
do.
cannot point it. Come on. You cannot point it at the papers. You yourself, with your own eyes, can look and see that's possibly medical information. That's a doctor. That dude's coming out of the
This is
hospital.
a
He's got a
hypothetical
folder.
situation, right? And at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
but
the
come
onus would be
on.
on the doctor for dropping the papers and exposing them to the
No,
public.
yeah, but see, that's
The,
kind of
the act of me,
ridiculous. That's
the
almost
act
a
of me
tyrant.
recording it is irrelevant. The fact that I saw it with my eyes, I could have a photographic memory, right? The fact that I saw it, that's the breach of data. The fact that I recorded it is evidence of that breach of data. Now,
This
he
is where
fucked up
you
by
miss
dropping
it.
the paper on the floor. He's the one that made a mistake, and I'm the one that's
Yeah,
going to get into
he
trouble for it.
didn't
I don't
make a mistake. He didn't make a mistake. He had an accident to a point. And now, if
Right.
you have any kind of recollection within yourself of understanding who that person is, what that person's doing, that I can see with my eyes that those are medical information, the last thing I would really want to do is take my camera that's a different extension of my eyes and put it up on those papers and put it down upon those papers to do that. That becomes then the lack
Well,
of responsibility. If you can't govern yourself,
any
how can
responsible
you
journalist
say that
would
you can't
point
have
their
a
camera
government,
to those paperwork.
that
Now,
you're
what
against
you do with that
government?
video? What you do with that video is different. If you're live streaming, all right, there's not a lot you can do with it. But
You don't
you've
have to point it at the
video evidence,
papers.
if
You
you
don't
captured
have
that
to
video
point it
evidence,
at the papers. You
Okay.
don't have to point it at the papers. You can look
can I
at those
finish my
papers,
conversation? Can I finish
but
my
you're
conversation?
it's the doctor committing a crime because he tripped and fell in front of you live streaming. He
Yeah,
committed
that's
a
right.
crime.
The
You
onus is
sound
on
like a
them to
tyrant.
keep that
That's a
paperwork safe.
tyrant. That's a
No,
tyrant.
Can I
Yes,
just,
because how did he commit a
you're not
crime by
letting me finish,
tripping and
bro.
falling?
no, you don't
No.
let me finish. I know what's coming.
Okay, I'm muting. Go ahead.
All right. The onus is on the doctor, right, to protect that data. Now, if for whatever reason he exposed that paper to the public, right, the fact that I see it, that's the breach of data. Now, if I've recorded that information, that's recording that evidence. Now, what I've done with that evidence, if I going to upload it to YouTube, for instance, if I have any common decency, I would blur out the information and put the video up. But if it was live, there's not a lot I can do about it. Otherwise, you know, if you're a responsible journalist and someone's done dropped some paper on the floor,
Right.
you're gonna see what it is. 'Cause it could be information. It could be information that could relate to a crime. It could be all kinds of things. Why not take a picture of it? You were in public. Well, you know, one minute you're saying we can do it, we absolutely can do it, and you absolutely support it. But then when someone trips over, you're upset with them that you're taking a picture of, you know, the papers that he's dropped on the floor. I mean, what kind of hypocrisy is that? That's double standards, man. It's either you can or you can't.
Hey, but the double standards goes on your side also. That's a double standard on the other side also, because you're claiming that that guy tripping and falling in that accident, in that thing happening, you're then claiming that guy's the criminal. He
He's not a
committed the
criminal.
crime.
Whatever mistake he made, the onus was on him to keep that data safe, right? It was his responsibility at the end of the day to keep that personal information private. And he made a mistake. He tripped over, or for whatever reason, he dropped that piece. I mean, this is a hypothetical situation, right? We're talking hypothetical. But whatever mistake he made, whether it was someone pushed him, whatever happened, that data fell on the floor and was exposed to the public, and someone happened to capture that on a camera. Now, the onus is not the man who captured it on the camera, because he's just capturing evidence of a breach of data. A breach of data can be a crime if it was done intentionally, or it could be an accident because, you know, someone pushed him over and he fell on the floor and all the paperwork got exposed. In either case, it's a breach of data. And that person was responsible for either securing the data, maybe putting it in a more secure folder or whatever. So the onus is on that person who has that personal private information, supposed to be keeping it safe, right? Not the person who's walking down the street with a camera and just happens to capture this guy falling over the floor, right? Get it right, man. Think about it.
Okay, I've thought about it.
Do I have a point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, whether it's a valid point or not, I would have to say, yes, it's a valid point. It's a valid, and it's almost like, I almost don't want to say it's a valid. It's because you were talking about illegal and what's legal and what's ethical or what's not legal. Now, in a legal aspect, I would say that that's a valid point in a legal way. But what some people, or what I'm trying to make a point too, is that you get to, it's like it's a black and white issue, or there's a gray area, and the gray area is like not being allowed to be considered. It seems like, in my opinion, like I would say that you can look at that paperwork with your eyes, because whatever you can see with your eyes is open to that. But then when you decide, I'm going to put this camera on there so that what I do then makes legally, I'm legally now imprisoning that guy. I've now became the, in some way, the judge, the jury, and the executioner.
Evidence of breach of data. That's what you're doing. You're capturing evidence of a breach of data, right? That's what you've done with the camera. Now, if you upload that to the video to YouTube without blurring that personal private information, you're a wanker. I'll agree with you. You're an irresponsible idiot. You should blur out any personal private information that could potentially harm or hurt somebody on the internet. There's no need for that. But what you should be doing is reporting that breach of data to, over here, you would be the ICO, right? So you've got to report it to somebody. You know what, that video of him dropping that paper on the floor and exposing that to public is a breach of data, and he is solely responsible for it. For you to capture that evidence of a potential breach of data, and he could be
See, now
fined
you sound like
for that.
that sounds like something that would happen in China.
Well,
With the
no,
way
I'm
that
saying
you're
in
talking,
China they
almost
would
sounds
lock you
like
up just for having a camera in
it
your hand.
almost sounds like a tyranny state, that if I go out, I got to worry about you, my neighbor, or somebody who says they're fighting for my rights, then is to claim that they're going to video something to claim that
No, imagine
it's
these
my
public
duty.
officials.
It's my
Imagine
duty.
these public officials,
No,
right,
it's
who
my
carelessly
duty
leave their
to
database. Hang on. Imagine these public officials that we compensate very well, right? That
Oh, a
allow
doctor and that
personal private
HIPAA stuff
information,
is not that.
right?
That
That allow
breach of
personal
data
private
is
information
not
to be
that.
clearly
Now,
visible to the members of the public, right? Police officers. I've seen countless videos of police officers leaving up they're leaving their computer monitors up and open,
that
right?
I
Harassing the-
understand, but not that
I've
hypothetical of a
seen
doctor and taking it that
situations where
far.
offices, for instance, with the screens of their monitors visible to the public from the public street, right? And the onus is on them to keep that screen away from the public's eye, right? But yet they get upset with auditors for recording that documenting that fact that these people are sitting there.
Why
with
did they get
computers.
upset? But why did they get
Visible.
upset?
Because
Why did
they
they
know
get
that
upset?
they're doing something wrong. The only people that get upset with people with cameras is the ones that know they're doing something wrong, or they could be doing something wrong.
Well,
They're
no,
afraid of
they've never had to worry about that before. Basically, I mean, some of it is like they've never had to worry about that before. People coming up to their cars. That's one reason why they say get away. And I agree. Hey, I got every right. This is actually our car. This is our car. We're
It's because they're
trusting in you
careless.
to drive.
They're
But that's
careless and
not.
they break the law, and they
But you could.
violate their own policies all the time, and they
But
don't
we
want to
have to
they don't
understand.
want to be held
We have to.
accountable.
We have to understand that hypothetical is that we can't blur the lines to go that far as a hypothetical. That a policeman leaving their laptop open and that data breach is different than a doctor tripping and falling and you going, it's my job and my obligation to record this and document this breach of data because this doctor just tripped because somebody hit him with a crutch because they were trying to get through the
It was a
door.
hypothetical situation, man.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. We can't take it that far because that's like ludicrous. But as a police officer or a public servant that hasn't taken the welfare care being of the information that they're in charge of is like it that I agree with. They have to, and it's because they weren't used to it. And I don't say that that's an excuse because that needs to be an education that they get taught by the public that it's your information. It's my information. They need to know that they are required to do a public service of keeping that information private. They have to close that. They throw you in jail or claim that.
You go into some of these police stations, right, and you go and report a crime, and they're asking you for your personal information. Meanwhile, they've boxed you into this small little corner, right, like little corridor or whatever it is they've got most of them in, and it's open to the public. So there's other people standing there listening to you give them your personal information, right? Which is wrong. They should have the ability to separate you and put you into another room or something where other people can't hear you. Give them your database, your address, your name, and whatever your problem is. I mean, this is crazy. They're more afraid of the camera than they are, rather than just focusing on the security and safety of the people.
But I find that same thing in public accommodations and private businesses. I do find that a problem too. So I have to, in some way, I have to care for myself also, because let's say I go in to pay my telephone bill and the person goes, hey, what's your phone number? I have to be careful within myself that I don't just blurt it out, that anybody in that place can hear it, because it's that same concept is to go.
Can I just point you to Mr. Beckett's comment. If said cameraman was live streaming and inadvertently captured and simultaneously published and said confidential data, it would be an act without the
Accidental
intent,
inclusion.
and it would be there would be no intent. However,
That's right.
if somebody was to record that information, they weren't live streaming, and then were to go on and publish that information, right,
That would be a criminal
they
offence.
then become legally responsible, as we're talking about law.
Yeah.
Um,
It
now,
could amount to a
because-
criminal offence, but I think it's
well,
more of
no,
a
it would be reportable in the UK to the ITO, which is a criminal matter. If it's
What's the ITO?
The Information
the
Commissionaire's
Independent
Office.
Commissioner's Office.
They govern all data protection in Great Britain.
So any corporation, government body, business who breaches data,
in
allows
America,
data to
you'll have
be-
somebody who where the all medical
Yeah.
um,
data protection.
where all
The
medical
online data
offices,
protection.
etc., report to under HIPAA. It's the same thing. I've been watching.
Similar.
the show.
HIPAA refers to doctor-patient.
Yeah, it's
confidential.
to do with medical confidentiality.
Yeah.
Now, I've been watching the chat, and there's been some interesting comments made. Some I've put up, some you've not read because you've been engrossed in the conversation. I want to slightly move away from because my original plan hasn't gone according to where I wanted it.
Sorry,
Never
mate.
do. We've had a mixed bag of personalities, and I always encourage discussion and passion. Always encourage that. I'm glad it's not become anything personal between either of you two, or with Taps or with UK Transparency. But I've got to say that in regards to this hypothetical doctor slipping over, bouncing down the steps, his briefcase going up all over the place and crashing and breaking, and all this paperwork going, would be comedy gold to me.
It would be genius, man. It would be viral.
And never mind what's on the paperwork. It could be it could be a list of shopping he's got to get in for himself. You just don't know what it is. However, the onus would also be on this hypothetical doctor to report the fact that if he was, in fact, or she was, in fact, carrying confidential information, they would be duty bound to report it themselves as a potential breach, regardless, because even their own cameras would have picked this up, their own security cameras, and that could be being looked after by an outside agency. So yes, they would have to report it from that point of view, and it would be down to whoever's in charge of that particular governing area whether or not they would be taken to court, or whether it would result in criminal charges or anything, because I'm not too sure what it would be in the United States, but I do know what it would be over here, and it could lead to serious criminal charges for a breach of data. There's some interesting comments in relation to how old I am yet again. And it is true, I do remember Mr. Bean, although I only liked one episode and it was only a short piece. But more on that another day if somebody reminds me. I have really enjoyed listening to you. As I say, what I had planned as part of the warm-up has gone totally out the window, but it was to do with auditing. I want to say hello to Bear.
Evening.
Hi, Bear.
Mate?
What's going on, people?
Oh,
Yeah, man, just go to
putting
sleep.
the world to rights, mate. Here,
Nah,
there.
I've just got shit going on, mate, so I have to deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's good, man.
That's okay.
That was
I know
so
you.
funny.
I know your guys have been missing you. You know, we've had the
Fucking
usual.
missing me. They don't miss me.
No,
What
they've
are
been
you on
talking amongst themselves. I've been watching it.
Although maybe have they been giving anyone shit?
No, but you have
No, they probably
you
missed
have
me.
had
Then.
a super sticker.
All right.
I'll tell you, it's from first.
I can see now. I can put up on the screen. In fact, Joe Vlogs.
There you go. Hey, up,
Big
I've
up
got
Joe
on that.
Vlogs.
When you come through, Nightmare, all right, do you want to leave your camera on or off? Oh, good, you go frighten them. Oh, right, that's all right. Nightmare's auditors, an
What's up?
American auditor's point of view.
Good evening.
Greetings
Or
and
afternoon.
salutations from somebody who has less sleep than the president worrying about a war room.
Who's that? Who's that? Who are you talking about now?
Oh,
Look,
you
just
missed it
because I s-
last night. You missed it, Grim. Oh, Jesus Christ, bro.
No, yeah, you mean when you went over to Indies?
Yes.
No, I didn't miss it. I listened to it. Don't forget, I'm 5 hours in front. I was working.
Bro, she's already put up 14 fucking videos. Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon my language. She's already put up 14 videos and just.
Well, we don't do drama in here, but
No.
unless I bring it, and I'm not bringing that one because I'm not taking sides. Not at the moment. What time did you start your show this morning, Nightmare? Or your time?
Probably
About
around 8 o'clock or so. And like I said, I'm not, I think that garbage is just what it is. It's garbage.
Yeah, so I know it would have been around about 10:30 when I joined your time. I've been going since then, right? And this isn't unusual for me either. I wake up with tats, and now I'm going to sleep with tats. Sorry, tats. I'm sorry about that, Nightmare. Do it to him all the time. Usually call him Indy, don't I?
Jesus. So I'm just laughing because from some of the comments in the chat. This doctor is having a real hard time, man.
Yeah, I don't know what his first name is. It could be Dave. But, that's
Who is this
another
doctor
story.
anyway? Does anyone have a video?
What have I missed anyway, man? What's the topic? Have we had anything more?
You know what that doctor did? That doctor fell down the escalator, or he tripped on the escalator and fell down the stairs for 20 minutes. Yeah.
They've had this conversation about data protection being broken, blah blah blah, etc. Right? And that, me throwing in HIPAA and trying to relate it to something that Fordham could get his head around because of the difference between UK law and American laws. So I used HIPAA as a reasoning, hence the reason why this doctor's become famous now. We're trying to figure out what his name is, and we're also trying to figure out whether or not he had any injuries, so we can laugh even more. After he fell over, and
Let's start a GoFundMe page for the guy. He's in a coma at the moment, I think.
Yeah, his briefcase went up in the air, spilled all over the place, and just as you're going by, there's an auditor that films it. And do you know what? They got this great in-depth conversation as to who was responsible for the data that was exposed. And me, I walk in and say, "That's a fucking great video. I'll put it up. I'll make a fortune." Stop the paperwork. The fact that the doctor falls down, arse over tit, and you see this briefcase going up in the air and then splat. Yeah, that makes a great video.
Doctors are like politicians and lawyers. When their lips are moving, they're lying.
Yeah, they should wear what's it called? The sponsored ads, like NASCAR drivers.
So maybe you shouldn't feel so sorry for this.
He was sponsored by Pfizer.
Doctor.
Everyone, it's okay.
Yeah, well, all right. I thought it was. Never mind. I'm not. Hello, Mr. E.
Dr. Fauci fell over and he dropped some paperwork on the floor. Dr. Fauci. Fauci.
And hello to all the people on panel and in chat that I don't know.
Well, we've got
How you
UK
doing, Nightmare?
transparency.
Hey, Nightmare.
How's it going, buddy?
We've got the Fallen, who drops in every now and again. Mellows, which you may not have come across. Bear Britton audits, so I keep telling you to watch his videos. That way we can rip him apart in the early hours of the morning, you won't know. And of course, you know me. And in the chat, we've got people from 3 different areas. So,
Give me this. Look out. Get off
and
me,
that
dumbass.
in the background is Mrs. Nightmare, the real
Yes,
Nightmare.
that's Mary. Yep, she's trying to pick up a box. Then the cat was in the box.
Yeah, I was fighting with the cat over the box.
The cat wanted the box more than it wanted its climbing toy.
Bit
Ain't
like
it funny
kids
how
at
you can
Christmas.
buy a cat a toy and they'll play with the damn box instead of the toy?
Same with kids,
Yes,
especially at
Just fixed to say
Christmas.
that.
Another reason why I prefer to buy boxes for kids. So, yeah, all right. So I've sort of lightened the mood up a little bit because I didn't want people to think it was always a serious discussion. But is there anything else now I've destroyed what was the seriousness that you'd like to say?
Well,
Before we move on to
you
something
want to
totally
see
different.
something funny, or well, it's not really funny. People complain all the time about not having any rights and stuff like that. On YouTube, I believe it's called Russian Audit. Go watch that auditor over there in Russia. And
Well, we got a Russian auditor, yeah.
yeah,
Oh my days, man. What's the channel called, bro?
I believe it's called Russian Audits. And I
Right.
was watching it this morning. I'll have to go back and look. And yeah, that shit was crazy.
Has it got I suppose you can put the subtitles on. Can we watch it in subtitles?
Yes.
Or
Sorry,
is it
yeah,
all
you
Russian?
can.
Do we have to learn Russian?
Yeah, it's definitely in Russian.
Oh yeah, I need to brush up on my Russian anyway. It's not a bad idea that.
That's how you can turn around and say papers. What papers?
No, just
don't
when
know,
we get
I could-
invaded and we're losing, I can jump ship and make out I'm Russian.
Oh, fair enough.
I give that guy credit and shit for being an auditor in Russia. That takes balls.
For sure.
Okay. For those people who weren't aware, the whistling is due to me wearing false teeth. I don't have a problem wearing false teeth. It helps me eat. Souls. See you all soon.
It helps you whistle too.
Well, not intentionally. Believe me. And I don't have a phone that keeps going off.
Why do so many people come in so uneducated all the time, man?
Go
In
film
what
on
way?
Red Square without a permit. Yeah.
Hey, you could call yourself Hujanika Bolokov.
I'm timing that person out. Sorry, I don't even know what side that was on, mine or yours, but
The chances are it'd be yours. But that's fine. Go for it.
Yeah, it was
Enjoy.
yours.
Was it on mine?
uneducated people, man.
I didn't even see what they said.
Can't even be asked to go there, man. Really can't even be asked to go there. Uneducated
listen,
people, man, with
ladies and gentlemen,
bullshit.
if you-
You know, it's really easy to make a comment. It takes a little bit more about somebody to open a fucking book and fucking do a bit of reading before spouting shit. Like, it just annoys me, man. There's a lot of fucking ignorant people in the world.
Hello,
And
Wise
some-
Angel.
And some
And
people, when they
this-
go on. Do apologize.
This is the part of the program, ladies and gentlemen. If you are not subscribed to Vigilante Media, please do so. And if you're not subscribed to the people on the channel, please take a moment to subscribe and like their channel. And you too can be a member. I don't know what it costs, but you can be a member.
Not here, you can't. Don't charge anyone. Some grim grip. Oh, I love it. Unfortunately, I speed read occasionally and look for certain words.
Yes,
Spanish.
man, it's good to see you, mate. I shall come on the panel soon. Now I have lovely new teeth. Do yours whistle?
Yeah, whistling contest.
Yeah. You can get a fucking rave going here.
I'm
bring
probably going
the
to start some shit here, but I think ain't it very common in New Zealand? I don't think anybody has their fucking teeth in New Zealand.
Ooh.
That's a bold statement.
Well, I'm just saying, everybody I've ever seen in New Zealand has never had their teeth, and I'm not trying to be mean, but in America it's the same way. You can go into the trailer parks, man, and these meth addicts over here, man, they're missing
It's
everything.
all this
I was going to say, how many hillbillies in New Zealand?
There's a lot of hillbillies.
Yeah.
But they're not from Beverly Hills.
Hell, we call them pillbillies over here.
Yeah, I had to ask you NFL for that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm not watching any Russian shit. Well, nah, Russian auditing. I imagine that would be interesting to watch that, man. Like, in fact, that's about the
But at
only
least I
thing
got
now.
all my teeth. Look, now there's my dog. I'm trying to show you all my teeth, and she's jumped up here to like.
Lick you to death.
Yeah, you're gonna say every time I turn the camera on, little dog. Every time. Silly Chihuahua. You silly Chihuahua.
I would say, man, that's not a dog. My cat's bigger than that.
Yes.
Yeah, Chihuahua. That's my little animal.
You know what? He takes it out in audits, and it makes more sense than the coppers sometimes. I'm talking about the dog. Oh, yep. UK. It's a dog show.
Aw.
Yeah, now my
Where
cats
else?
they're both put together.
Aw,
Where
look.
else would you get a dog show? Eh? You know, if I had a camera working officially, I mean.
Yeah, all you
I'll
need
show
to
you
do now, man. What's yours, UK, male or female?
Female.
What about yours, Nightmare?
Little female.
Ah, man.
Bitches, aren't they?
That's say, man. We could have started sending you some sperm over or something, man, and you can start
Listen,
unboxing
man, I've done a lot of
puppies.
things, brother, but I've never artificially inseminated a dog, and I don't think most right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to put an add-on to that statement. Allegedly. I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea, especially them clippers.
I just don't think that's on my top 10 list today.
And anything which
Tomorrow's
the
not looking
guests
very
say,
good either.
has nothing to do with the channel owners whatsoever. You listen at your own risk. Remember, you chose to be here. Right. Yeah, so I'm going to go and get some sleep for a few hours.
Hey, who wants to
because-
see a Russian audit?
Oh, God, that means I'm going to end up staying to watch this.
No, I was about to say as well. If you're shutting it down, I'm shutting it down, bro. I'm not doing no thing tonight.
That's fine. That's fine. That's okay then. Yeah, the only reason is I'm knackered. It's been a long day. Yes, again. I'm going to have to try and change today. I don't know. I'll see how it goes. But I'll put this, if I can, if it'll copy, I'll put this link in the chat if it'll work, because it doesn't always work. I will try. And people can go and, check it out yourselves. That'll go across Bears and the network. I just want to say that tonight's entertainment has been brought to you by The Missing Bear. If you've really enjoyed it, please let Bear know, because he missed a really good show. And if you didn't like it, or for whatever reason, again, let Bear know and tell me he didn't miss anything. He'd be happy with that. What's up, Bear? I'm not picking on you.
No, mate, no.
I know it makes a change. You've been here more than 5 minutes. No, seriously, thank you. And Fallen, thank you for coming in. You'll always
thanks
have a
for letting me
voice.
up.
You'll always have a voice here.
Thanks for the
Regardless,
debate, mate.
I thought it was an interesting debate, and thank you.
What-
I'm going to call it a score draw. On that, so I ain't going to say who won that one, who didn't.
And if you're an American, you need to eat some Vegemite. If you have never tried it, it's delicious.
If it's better tasting than it is over here, then fair enough. But to have another
Actually,
hybrid-
if you're American, stop eating your food, man, because the amount of shit they put in that stuff is bad.
You got
I
that.
knew that was going to come from a roly-poly.
But listen, man, I'm being serious. Do you know how much shit is in their food that is
Yes.
banned over here? It's unreal. It's fucking real, man.
Yeah, well,
That's
I've
why
got-
we have 9-year-old girls running around looking like 30-year-old women. Mountain girl, woohoo!
Mountain
Everybody
Girl
gets
and
quiet when you say
Northwoods
9-year-old.
Press. Thank you for coming in for the end of the show. I'm being honest. I'm actually going to close this down in a couple of minutes or so. But
Talking of that, guys, hopefully it'll
Okay.
be out tomorrow.
out.
I might as well plug that. I think tomorrow, some point tomorrow, anyway, there's going to be a premiere. It'll either be normal time on an evening 6:30 or midday, depending. But watch that. That was a protest that went a little bit crazy, man. Very peaceful protest. One person said something about wanted to make a statement about a 9-year-old in the Quran, and all fucking hell broke loose. So
yes,
Brandon Mitchell, what's up?
watch out for that, guys.
that'd be worthwhile watching. And
As a
if you don't
dumbass
get,
in society.
yeah, I take it you had the go ahead, or you're hoping to have got the go ahead.
Yeah, I think it would be all right.
Oh, good.
Be all right.
I've watched it. I would say it comes with no warning, no rating, or anything. I don't see what the problem is, other than the subject matter. And some people don't like it.
Truffle Marmite, yeah.
Oh, God, Bennett. What time is it over there? Where you
It's
are?
4:10 in the afternoon here.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's what?
4:10 in the afternoon here.
Right. So you are getting hungry. That's the reason why I talked about food.
Yeah, we're gonna have turkey and gravy, 5 cheese, Texas toast, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, and baked beans.
And none of that, ladies and gentlemen, will taste anything like it does in the UK. But they like it.
We raise our own food. We don't eat that shit.
I'm so looking forward to going over and trying some American hospitality. That'll be hilarious. Right, guys and ladies in the chat, thank you so much for coming. Thanks for dropping in. Whatever time you came in, it's been a bit of a blast. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't,
Everybody's like, "What's Texas toast?"
try next week.
I've never struggled for food over there, Grim. Will recommend now, forget McDonald's or Burger King. If you do go for a burger, go to Sonic.
Yes.
Sonic. Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure I'll find one. I always thought the
Yeah,
Sonic was an
everywhere.
advert for the hedgehog.
Or find you a good mom and pop restaurant, like something where they really make real food.
Oh, I'm hoping that there'll be somewhere like that where I'm going. But yeah, all right then. Mountain Girl, just for you. Woo, woo. There you go. The in joke, that, by the way. Right, I'll see you all again soon. I'm going to end the broadcast. Take care, guys.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
No, I'll
I've
tell you
opened
what.
the welcome room, by the way.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Go over to the welcome room. Can someone put the link in the chat for those who haven't got it? You never know. That might want to hop in. You can experience total
He
freedom
said,
of
"Real
speech.
food is that He said, "Real food is that roadkill?" No, my father has a farm, and we raise our own beef and pork and chicken and all that stuff. We have a 345 acre farm.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, good night. I'm just copying this link and I'll put it out in the chat. And I'll just hold on a second so people can click on it.
Okay.
Go in there, have a laugh. Oh, Bear's done it and I've done it twice. Okay. Go in there, have a bit of a laugh, and you'll have total freedom of speech in there, and nobody gives a damn. That's all I can say. All right. Cheers, guys. Take care.
Yeah,
Grim. Grim. God, Bennett. See, I'm not far away from reality.
all right, mate. Take
Bear,
care.
do us a
Bye.
favour.
Bye. Bye.
Shut, close the door on your way out, will you?
Huh.
Bear, you there?